we're going to create a mixin now, and we're going to be using the if statements. That was what I wanted to say. I just forgot. And those are kind of cool to do this, so we can actually change the color just by doing different things depending on the if. So first things first, create your mixin like this. Oh, type it correctly for it to work. And I'm going to name this courses for now. Do this so your mixin looks like this down here. In this one, as you remember, mixin is just repeating whatever we put in with every include we create. So I'm just going to add a width to this of 300 pixels so we can actually see something, because I'm using the background color to change. And I'm going to add in a height. Whoops, spelled it correctly. Height 100 pixels. And that's a really simple mixin. I'm just going to include this so you can see what it actually does into course 1. And if you remember how to do the include, it's an @ sign, include, and I want to include the courses that I just created. So like this. This is going to be hard to see because there's no background color to this. So we're just going to add a color change to the font. So instead of going black, it's going to be not green, because that's going to make it weird. So let's make this yellow. It's going to be real hard to see. So, it's so impossible to see, but it's up here. Yellow, and it's really tall though, but that's cool. So right now I just used my mixin along with the include here. I'm not actually using any of the information up here, but that's what we're going to be looking into now. So we're going to add an if statement to this, and we're going to be using to check if it's completed or not. So what we're going to do, if you remember, we typed @if, and then we're going to be using a variable called completed, like this. This is something we now can use to check if it's completed. You need to do this. So completed, and then we're going to do the curly brackets thingy here, and we're going to add a background color. So just like the first video for today, if you completed this, it's going to turn light green. That's a pretty color. And then you end it, make sure to check here, and you open it here and hit end it here. After you end it, you do a else. If you didn't complete it, if you sucked in that gymnastics, you couldn't jump up the rope, you will have the background color of red. So now we've created a statement or a condition inside our mixin. This means we can now check to see if he completed it up here or if he didn't complete it up here. And before we can actually do this, we need to make sure that the completed, because this is now a variable, and when we use variables in mixins, we need to make sure that it knows it's an inputted variable. So after the name up here where it says courses, do your parentheses and type in completed. Like this. So make sure it's the same. You can just copy it to make sure. So right now it says courses completed, and if completed, if true in this case, color it green. If not true, then do color this red. So if I just click save now, it's going to give me an error because I haven't passed anything in here. This is empty and it doesn't understand this. It really wants to know if it's true or false. So we're going to be using our courses down here. This is what we did before. We just put in for the yellow, but we need to add a little bit more now to make sure the system actually knows where to go look. So we have to kind of zoom in out a little bit so you can see everything. I hope it's not too small right now. Maybe I can add some, I can remove this H1 so we know that works. I hope this works. So now we're going to add the last parameter for this so we can actually make it work. So at our courses, our mixin that we use here, we now need to pass the information from up here. So we're going to be looking at our function, and this is also something we did with the colors. So we're going to look at the course C. It already told me, is this the one you want to be using? Yes, it most definitely is. And I want to go to math, because that's the first one I want to check. So math, and is this one completed? Yes or no? So math completed, true. This should now, when I click save, turn courses into a green background, and whoop-de-doo, it did. And I'm just going to copy this out because I'm lazy, and I want to do the same for course 2 and 3. So course 2 down here and course 3 down here. And now I don't want to check math anymore. I want to check for the second one. That's actually just the other way around. For chemistry, that's the third one. And for gymnastics, that is the second one here. So once I just put those in, it's going to go to gymnastics, check for the completed version, and here chemistry, check for the completed, true, true, false. So I should have green, and gymnastics should be red, and chemistry should be green when I update here. So, I shouldn't have chosen the yellow one. But now you can see we can use these maps here to store information that we're going to be using, like the colors, like the font types, and so on and so on. Here we're just using to check if a student has done something, and we're going to change the design depending on if the student did it or not. So here we are combining most of the things we've just been taught. So we're combining the if statements, we're combining a mixin, we're creating a function, we're using a map, we're using the map get, and so on and so on. So this code here is actually checking what I just mentioned, and we can just continue adding all the courses that we want. And this is kind of what we're going to do going forward with our programming. And this is very similar to some of the things you're going to see in programming as well. So having data stored somewhere, us retrieving this data, checking to see if it's true, false, what does it contain, how are we going to use it and print it out, and all of these things. So this is kind of your first introduction to, and I won't say this is easy because you're totally fresh to this kind of way of writing code. So this might be kind of like, whoa, and hopefully it goes like, whoa, once you completed it, and then you go, woo. But this is really funny when you start understanding this, and we're going to be using a lot of this stuff. So hopefully you're going to be looking into this. So see you in the next video.